If you're anything like me, I can't aim at all. I've spent most of my time playing League of Legends, so when Big Daddy Riot Games drops their fancy new shooting CS GOverwatch ripoff, I started to sweat. Don't get me wrong, I love what Riot does, and I was fairly certain that the game was going to be great. However, all the time I spent playing League doesn't really translate over into it very well, at least on the technical level. I'm sure I'm not the only one who is in this position or feels the same way as I do, so I want to potentially give some insight into how people like us can maximize our chances of winning without maybe having to have the best aim in the world. If you're just starting Valorant, eagerly waiting for your key to drop, or just suck at aiming at people, don't worry, this video is for you. What's going on, everyone? Hope you guys are having fun this quarantine, because I kind of am, and weirdly enough, as a fellow Chad gamer, I don't really go outside anyway, so I was truly born for this moment. Watch Daddy here, giving you some more tips, tricks, and guides on all things Valorant so you too can clap your enemies. For more sweet videos like this one, consider liking and subbing this video and respond with what you want to see next. I want to preface this by saying that Valorant is not just about aiming. Yes, at its core, Valorant is a shooting game and you kill your enemies by shooting them. But there are many more components to this than just being able to quickly aim at heads. This has always been the case in Counter-Strike, and this point is even more evident in Valorant. In fact, the developers of Valorant wanted this to be the case. Riot better have cut us some slack because I sold my soul to them to play their other stupid game, so I'm glad they carried the abilities over in this one. Back to how to win at this game. Okay, so my definition of aim is as follows. Firstly, the ability to move your crosshair onto a target quickly and accurately, and secondly, being able to consistently track onto a target. The kind of aim you will require will of course vary depending on the gun you use and the game you are playing, but by and large, this will be what constitutes aim and what we will be referring for the rest of the video, so keep that in mind. Depending on your background in shooters or not shooters, your aim style and skill level would vary. If you played a lot of Battle Royale games, you will also find that the pacing and shooting dynamics on Valorant are very different from what you are used to, and that's because it is. You don't have to constantly be flicking all over the place in Valorant because a lot of the time you're literally just sitting there, waiting for something to happen. And this is in part due to how the game works. It works in your favor to be holding an angle a lot of the time, and by being impatient and running around to find enemies, you will actually be putting yourself at a disadvantage. In Valorant, there is so much more to shooting people than simply aiming, as there are many factors you can control to make that aiming as easy as possible. The point is not to be a better aimer than your enemy, it's to be a better player than your enemy. Yes, aim can get you some level of leverage in Valorant, but it's definitely not everything. The first thing I can tell you that will improve your play immediately is of course crosshair placement. Improving in this department can be huge for feeling like you're getting better at aiming even though you're just changing the type of preparation you do for aiming instead. The War Owl has an excellent rule for crosshair placement, so I'll make reference to it here. Always keep your crosshair at head level where an enemy might be. This is a really effective and easy thing to keep in mind, and it honestly works. Think about it, the closer your crosshair is to your enemy once you see them, the less you will have to move your crosshair in order to shoot them, and thus less aim being required. This is what I mean by leveraging skills other than aim. There are plenty of amazing shots made by players that are not necessarily due to good aim, but entirely due to amazing crosshair placement, such that when players run into enemies, all they have to do is click. So how do you improve your crosshair placement? It's not actually that hard. It will come with good practice, but you will generally get a better sense of where your enemies' heads will be based on what part of the map they are at, and you will improve at this by getting a better sense of common areas enemies will be on the map as well. If you play Battle Royales, this will be hard for you to get used to. Do not look at the ground in this game, there is no loot to grab. The only loot you need will be the bodies of your enemies. I'd say that people aiming their crosshair too low is the most common issue with crosshair placement, so really try to make a conscious effort to picture your crosshair being at their head. I find that a good way to try and improve your crosshair placement in terms of verticality is to lower your sensitivity, specifically to the point where you need to aim with your arm instead of just your wrist. However, as long as you think consciously about it and try to improve on it, you will see a natural, significant improvement in how you position and find that kills come much easier if you're prepared. Another thing to keep in mind is general movement and positioning when you're clearing areas and getting kills. You want to constantly be looking around and pointing to where you think an enemy could be and moving on to the next area. The same will apply when you get a kill. Once you get a kill onto an enemy, you need to mix up your angles so that your enemy will have a harder time finding out where you are even if you just got a kill in that area. Something that tends to go hand in hand with crosshair placement is positioning, which is essentially where you are standing relative to where you are intending to go and where you are looking. Positioning is super important for succeeding in one-on-one engagements because with proper preparation through positioning and having good crosshair placement, you can maximize your chances of getting a kill and are putting yourself in a favorable position to win out a fight. Without the proper setup, there will be times where you won't be able to get a kill no matter how good your aim is. In order to improve your positioning, a good rule to keep in mind is to expose yourself to as few angles as possible and clear angles to make sure enemies are not there, one by one. By isolating angles and using deduction, you can greatly reduce the different possibilities of where the enemy can be and be better prepared for where they will be. The next important concept that you need to understand is ability usage and how you can actually force plays and do a lot without even needing to aim at an enemy. Abilities in Valorant are very strong, and you can leverage that strength along with your tactical ability and strategy in order to counter your enemies. Agents such as Brimstone, Cypher, and Sage are incredibly capable at defensive play and suppressing pushes from enemies. Other agents like Raze can allow you to have high damage without having the best aim as well. There's plenty of ways to utilize your own game sense and win conditions per round in order to try and win rounds without having to simply tap heads. With all of this in mind, you can clearly see that there are plenty of methods and options that you can use in both your mindset and in the tools given to you within the game in order to reduce your reliance on your aim. This does not mean that you should avoid trying to improve your aim, however, as excelling in gunplay is still incredibly important. There are lots of channels and insane players that are excellent at aiming, so I definitely recommend trying to go through how they play and weave their aim with all of these other things as well. I hope you got some valuable tips for this for use in your own games. Good luck, everyone.